Thank you so much, Golden Boy, here with Dapr after a crushing victory, 2-0 victory over Vikings. You guys are undefeated in the tournament, not just in the series, but in the maps as well from yesterday to today. So that's where I kind of want to start. Expectations, a lot of people calling you guys favorites coming in. But did you expect to be this dominant in a sense?
No. Obviously, I'm confident against going against anybody here, but yeah, to close out in like this dominant fashion, it feels great. So.
Well, looking at today's series in particular, it was, again, more dominant than yesterday's. And specifically, beyond the first half of the first map, it seemed like you were pretty much just running away with it. So let's tackle it one by one. First off, Icebox. It was a 7-5 defensive half for you guys. Felt like it was really focused around A site, though, for Vikings. So I'm kind of curious from your perspective, did you guys have that knowledge coming in, that based on comp, based on play style, that would be the site that they'd really be focusing? And how did you approach dealing with that?
Yeah, so our whole game plan was like getting the B control and then knowing like what Sova utility. We kind of just based around like the enemy Sova. If you use like a dart or a drone, depending on where, we kind of knew they'd like try to 5-man tackle a site. So we had really good reads on that. We rotated utility and like our looks. Like sometimes we're really aggressive and trying to fight them in the face, and then sometimes we're playing like retake. So, yeah, we had really good reads on them, and they didn't really switch up that much from what we saw.
Yeah, it seemed kind of like a singular play style by them, but you guys had multiple looks in order to respond to it. That brings us to the offensive half for you. And, again, it seemed to kind of explode open. But, again, one thing I noticed was the creativity you guys had in being able to attack both sites. And so, again, why was your comp necessarily able to do that, whereas it felt theirs was a little more pigeonholed into A?
Yeah, I think we just had more focus towards the B side, and once you have like B control, it's way easier to either like just hard commit to B with Sage. I think that's like one of the bigger problems with their comp is that they didn't run Sage, so we kind of had like a little more freedom towards B, because if you show too much respect at B and they have Sage, they could just get bombed down, and that's kind of what they did for us. So we just kept kind of abusing that. But yeah, once you get B control, it's way easier to pivot back to A. And it's really hard to reclear B, but not, I think you just hit A.
From there, we go to Haven. Haven was, again, it just seemed to the momentum seemed to grow. We had the pistol round, first 2 rounds, rather. Sick picked up 6 kills, has his ultimate in round 3. Talk to me about the way that can kind of warp the pace of the game when one player's picking up that many frags and has certain utility and ultimates available so much sooner into the game.
Yeah. Having Phoenix Ult is just like the most momentum you could ever have going into a half, because it's almost like, it's not a guaranteed round, but it's guaranteed info and maybe even a kill, though how good Hunter is, so sick. So yeah, he got ult at our first gun round, and we just rushed, took A control, and yeah, we just kind of made them just play scared pretty much the whole half. It just sets the whole tone from the half when you get that.
Yeah, it was 10-2. From there, we go into the second half. We got a little bit of the Sentinel special with some aggression. Having some fun. Right? Letting it loose.
Expected.
That's all right. Putting on a show for people. It ends 13-6. Again, I don't think anybody was ever in fear, that the map was going to slip away from you. And so from here, I just kind of want to talk about going forward. We don't necessarily know who your opponent's going to be. But again, there's so much focus on the fact that we could even sit and watch a double NA run the top bracket. You guys are going to have to draw blood against version 1 at some point in the upper bracket. So just generally, how you feeling about the performance of not only yourself, but the region as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm super proud. We're doing great. Version 1's, taking down Liquid is no easy feat. So I'm really proud of them, too. Hopefully, they could keep doing their good stuff against New Turn, but honestly, I'd rather play New Turn just because the regional I'd rather have somebody that's not that familiar with how we play than version 1, it'd probably just be like a slugfest. I feel like that's how regional matchup is. It's kind of just like running at each other. So yeah, I'd rather New Turn, but I'm still rooting for version 1.
Yeah, of course. I mean, there's a lot of questions about how that kind of utility usage, that creative utility usage coming out of regions like Korea and New Turn might stack up against some of the more brute force that NA has to bring to the table. But either way, you guys put on an absolute show today. I want to thank you for taking the time to interview with me. Congratulate you here on the run you've had so far.
Thank you very much.